You're watching Capitol View, Sunday morning talk focused on the political scene in Arkansas.
Welcome back to the program. Joining me now, Randy Zook with the Arkansas State Chamber of Commerce, Angela Duran with Excel by 8. Thank you both for being here. Appreciate you.
Glad to be here.
Angela, I'm going to start with you first. We're here to talk about the child care, I call it a crisis in Arkansas. Tell me a little bit about Excel by 8 and why this issue is important to you.
Bet. So Excel by 8 is a statewide network of organizations that's really focused on building a grid of resources so children and families and communities can thrive. We look at education, we look at healthcare, and one of the things we're seeing is this huge childcare crisis that is preventing people from going to work and keeping their jobs when their childcare situations fall apart on them.
We have a shortage of facilities, we have a shortage of workers. Randy, why is this important to the state chamber?
Well, if you've got children, young children, and they need child care and you need to go to work, if you don't have any place to park your children that you can rely on and depend on, that can take care of them while you're at work, you're not going to be able to go to work. So we're hard pressed to get enough people to get to work already, and this just adds to that problem.
What do we know statistically about where we are in terms of the lack of access, the lack of number of facilities, the lack of workers, the education? I mean, there's a lot of statistics that are involved in this.
So one of the things we know is if you look at quality child care in Arkansas, only about 15% of families with infants and toddlers can find quality care.
How's that defined?
So the state has a quality rating system, and so it's any center at their level 3 or higher.
Gotcha. So, and what was the statistic, 15%?
Only 15% can find care.
All right. Are there counties where you can't find any care?
Yeah, there are counties where there are literally no infants and toddler slots.
Yeah. Obviously, a child care facility is a business, but it is also, there are some employers that are looking to invest more into this. What's the chamber's role in this? What's business's role in solving this problem besides meeting that workforce need? But what can you do?
Well, in fact, businesses are reluctant to get into this business. They don't want to be in the business. They want to support it. They want to encourage it. And in some cases, they're willing to underwrite part of the cost. But they do not want to be in the child care business if you're running a manufacturing plant. It has nothing to do with what they're in business to do. So the reality is we've got to find more ways and more creative ways for them to be able to do this and afford to do it without breaking the bank on being able to hire folks.
How does that happen from a state policy perspective, and where does the investment come for that? Does it come from state tax dollars? Does it come from private business? Does it come from entrepreneurship, and then someone, finds a way to tap into the local?
All of the above.
Okay, well walk me through what needs to change to address this problem from the state capital's perspective.
So one of the things we are doing right now, and the state chamber is one of over 30 members of a statewide coalition of businesses that we're building. And we have people from up in Jonesboro, St. Bernard's, all the way down to Pilgrim's Pride and Sevier County. So it truly is statewide. We're trying to work with them to figure out what the solution is. But like Randy said, it probably is some combination of how can we use government dollars, how can we use the business dollars, and how can families themselves contribute so that it's a shared responsibility.
Yeah. Who else is in this coalition, and why? What do you hope this coalition accomplishes?
Well, first of all, make people aware of the need, although you don't have to talk to HR people very long to hear this song being sung, that more and more people are, first of all, not just the quality of it, the cost of it is horrendous. I mean, I was speaking to one of our folks the other day. Their child care bill is $1,700 a month. It's more than their mortgage for 2 kids. Both, preschool.
Do we know why that is? Because if you look at the pay scale for the workers in these child care facilities, it's not great pay. I mean, you're talking some minimum wage jobs and some above minimum wage jobs, but you're not talking $50 an hour for this. It's a big investment. There is some education that goes along with it to be able to do what you got to do. Why does it cost as much as it costs? Can anybody answer that question?
Do the math.
I mean, it's a labor-intensive industry. And you look at the ratios for what you need for infant and toddler, like, one teacher to just, 4 or 5 infants. And so it's just expensive.
One teacher is at least $600 a week. divide it by 4, that's $150 a week per kid, without paying for the facility or anybody else on the staff or whatever. Just the.
Is anyone talking about changing those ratios? Is anyone talking about, or is the answer to simply create more of these facilities for kids?
I mean, we don't want to make the ratios so that there's more kids to a teacher, because in fact we want to make the quality better, and that you have better quality if the teacher can actually interact with children on a daily basis. So I think it's about trying to figure out how we can collectively help pay for the cost of quality care.
Mm-hmm. I know I'm going to come to the business angle on this first, but from the education component of this, why is it so important to have that quality education that you're talking about at this young age? I know it's kind of the mission of Excel by 8, but kind of give me that philosophy of what we know, what we've learned, of what happens in those early years for kids.
So we know that the biggest brain development for young children does happen in those first few years of life. And in fact, it peaks at about 1 year old. And a lot of the executive function skills that are important to employers down the road are actually being developed in those very first few years of life.
Yeah, what are we talking, I mean, like what?
You know, like managing your emotions and working with others. I mean, all those things that begin in toddlerhood.
Still working on those things, Angela. What, from the business perspective, why does the business community think it is important to invest in these kids at this early of an age?
They're our future workforce. If they're not prepared, look, we're not having enough babies. That's the beginning point of this. We're not even at a replacement.
I mean, you
rate.
say that in jest.
No,
I mean, you look at the
serious.
generation of the baby boomers that are exiting the workforce
serious.
and Gen Z that's coming into the workforce. There's a huge difference in the
We
numbers.
are not having enough babies to replace our population. We're below the replacement rate, as is most of the developed world. And the more expensive it becomes to have a child, the fewer children we're going to have. That's the conundrum that we're facing, and young families face.
Well, we need more technology to develop more productivity, and we need immigration to get fixed, Randy, so that we can have more workers in here.
All of the above, Roby.
These solutions to me seem pretty crystal clear, pretty black and white in terms of
and pretty costly.
What the needs are, but we don't seem to be able to advance the issue beyond where we're at. I know that's the goal of the coalition, is to change that, but tell me how we change the mindset on that. What's it going to take to get people's attention on that?
I mean, I think the bottom line is it's impacting the economy of the state of Arkansas. It's impacting businesses, it's impacting our tax revenue. And so, you know, looking at those types of things, it's not just about helping a mom or helping a kid, it's a whole economy issue.
Well, Randy keeps cutting taxes, so I mean, no, I'm just kidding. So
We have to.
I know, to stay competitive.
Yeah.
But what do you think is going to be the wake-up call to get more investment from the state and from the business community?
Well, it gets more critical every day. I mean, you know, people finally throw up their hands and they'll say, well, let's try something. So then you get together a coalition of a group of companies within a given area, and maybe they go together and share some kind of facility or encourage it. This is even more problematic for manufacturers because they're usually multi-shift operations.
Yeah.
Try finding infant care for the second shift mom. Try finding infant care for the overnight mom on the third shift. It's increasingly problematic and increasingly critical. That
Moms or dads, Randy?
Or
They all-
dads.
Yeah.
Well, hey,
What? All right. If somebody wants to be a part of your coalition, how do they access? How do they do that?
They can go to our website, which is www.excelby8.net.
All right. Randy.
don't call us, call Angela.
All right, well, I wish you the best of luck on this. Let's have you guys back to talk about this, particularly as we get closer to the legislative session. You think anything gets done in the fiscal session on this?
No.
It's all going to be legislative session.
25.
You've got some work cut out between now and then, kids.
Yes,
Always.
indeed.
All right, Randy, Angela, thank you both for being here. Appreciate you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we're back with more right after this.